Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe Twin Love. Fresh off the Dynamite, our Halloween version of Dynamite tonight for EW, October 27th, 2021, was a good showing for Dynamite tonight. Not a lot really writing on it, but had some good things. Of course, since it was Halloween, there was going to be some theatrics more in the main event, but it was a good show. We got the return of Darby Allin. We got some good matches as well tonight, as well as some more news for Friday's Rampage, as well as Full Gear. But nonetheless, thank you for joining me on the podcast today. The like button and subscribe. Again, if you like these videos and if you want to see more, be sure to click that subscribe for the channel to see more videos. But to start off on the episode Dynamite, Bobby Fish versus CM Punk. This was a technical, solid match between the two. And for the record, so good to have Dynamite back on Wednesdays. Of course, because of the NHL. It's been preempted the last few weeks, but hopefully it stays on regularly on Wednesday for the rest of the year. But Bobby Fish versus CM Punk, good match, as we expected between these two veterans. You know, Fish, because the jiu-jitsu MMA style he works, he was targeting the leg of CM Punk, chop it down with dragon screw. He hit a heel for near fall. Punk followed with a suicida. They were exchanging on top rope, but Fish fell. And Punk, because he was favoring the leg, he hit a one-legged top rope elbow drop. He hit a swinging neckbreaker for a near fall. Fish countered the GTS, hit a sliding lariat, and then went for a backslide, countered. They exchanged some pins, and then Punk hit the GTS and for the win. Now, I'm not sure what happened at the end of the match, as Fish, he kicked out seemingly after the ref counted 3, and I'm not sure if it was a mistake by either, or whose mistake was it, but nonetheless, a win for CM Punk. Good match with veteran and Bobby Fish. Some good stuff. Question is now, where we gear towards CM Punk for Full Gear now that he's done with Bobby Fish? We'll see. Obviously, the leaked card for Full Gear has CM Punk versus Wardlow, but we'll see how they gear towards. But good match between the two. So then we got MJF versus Bryce Donovan. I tell you, MJF is looking more and more like a star each week. I mean, the reactions he's getting, the way he's coming off, it's just crazy. And he's only 25. That's the other thing. But here he was with Bryce Donovan. I believe they said Donovan was making his debut. I mean, simple. Heat Seeker for the win by MJF. Bryce Donovan, you know, has a good look about him. But I don't know. For some reason, he looks like a young Jeff Hardy in a way. I don't know if anyone else saw that, but that was kind of the vibe I got from him. Obviously, he wasn't a high fly. Well, he didn't really get any offense in, but there was that. And this is primarily for what happened after the match. So MJF, he was with Shawn Spears and Wardlow, and he grabbed the microphone, did MJF, or a guy from Spears, crapped all over Boston. I was expecting him to say something about the Red Sox, but he didn't. Um, and he brought up Darby Allin. And he said it made sense why they love Darby Allin because they love losers. So MJF said that the world title is in his future, which is the question is when. And he said he's coming for the winner of Hangman versus Omega, which again seems likely that MJF will be the guy to take title off Hangman and Page after Hangman takes off Kenny and goes on a little bit of a run of his own. But so Sting's music hit, and they obviously looked worried. And then the music stopped. MJF burst out laughing, and they trolled us. They trolled everyone. MJF was like, they're all gullible, and gave props to Spears. And then the lights went out, and then MJF said, ha ha, very funny, Spears. So, and then Spears said, that's not me, man. So then a video came up, a little one of those old, black and white kind of videos where it's like, it reminded me a bit of the pie in the face type of comic or comedy, old center videos, that sort of thing. But so there was a stage with an audience, and so there was a guy with a mask who was basically supposedly MJF. And so the guy with the microphone said, is that MJF? And then Darby Allin came out of a curtain and he drop kicked this guy, supposedly MJF. And then he and this other guy put this MJF through a table, and that was how the scene ended. And then it cut to black, and then the lights went back on, and out from behind was Sting with a baseball bat. He attacked MJF and Wardlow. MJF hightailed it, and out of nowhere, a guy that was dressed up right behind MJF where he was out in the crowd, unmasked, and it turned out to be Darby Allin. He's back. He chased off MJF, and so they were in the ring. Darby and Sting attacking on Wardlow and Spears, while MJF took the high ground on the stage, and Darby Allin took the microphone saying, "MJF, full gear." So this match gonna happen at Full Gear. Darby Allin versus MJF. Fun match. Looking forward to it. And good that Darby Allin's back. I mean, on Halloween in Boston made sense for his return. So good and good. So then we got a little interview of Bryan Danielson and Eddie Kingston. Now, for those who didn't see, there was a little uh, interview segment after Eddie Kingston's match with Lance Archer, and it got a little personal where Bryan talked about maybe if Kingston worked hard enough outside the ring, maybe he would have been a world champion by now. So that obviously ticked off Kingston, and they brought it to this interview here. Kingston said he's done talking and that come Friday and Rampage, he'll show him what hard work's all about. So then Kingston left, and Bryan talked about how Kingston, and Jon Moxley, there's a hint that them two are the toughest wrestlers he's ever seen. And that whether he wants to listen to him or not is Kingston. That come Friday Rampage, he will beat him. There was that. So, go with a little. Again, disappointed that not getting Archer versus Bryan. Although I'm glad that Archer is okay. But still, this match between Bryan and Kingston should be fun. So then we got Hikaru Shida versus Serena Deeb, rematch from a couple weeks ago, and quarterfinal match in the TBS Title Women's Tournament. So, fun match between two of these who brought it. Seemed like a better match than the first one weeks ago. This is about revenge, also for Shida, of course, from getting denied her 50th win. So, suplex by Shida, she really brought it near the end. She had a faceplant buster and a running knee to the back of the head for a near fall. She went for another running knee, but was caught into a half crab by Deeb. Deeb then transitioned to a reverse figure four leg lock, but she got to ropes. Went for a figure four, but she counted into cradle for a near fall. So then it was an exchange of pins, and then Shida won on top, rolled over Deeb, and won 1, 2, 3. Hikaru Shida gets her 50th win, becomes the first woman in AEW to 50 wins, and She advanced in the TBS Title Women's Tournament, but at a cost. So Shida's knee was already getting targeted by Deeb throughout the match, and afterwards, Deeb, who's taking a much more serious side, she attacked Shida after a bell, and with a chair, she wailed on Shida's knee, locked in the Serenity Lock, and left Shida beaten at the end of it. So she advances, she gets her 50th win. She will face Nyla Rose in the next round of the tournament. Of course, depends on how her health status after this attack for the next round of the tournament. So then, speaking of tournament, we got the final quarterfinal match of the world title eliminator. We got number 10, Preston Vance of the Dark Order versus Jon Moxley. This one, now, I was looking forward to simply because you have quite a feeling that this tournament is going to be about Moxley versus Bryan in the finals, and this is about a Jon Moxley heel turn. However, we wanted to see at least 10. I mean, I get it, but we wanted to at least see some offense, and this was ugly in the sense that this was a beatdown really by Moxley. Came in, beat up 10. They were fighting on the outside. 10 guys' masks ripped open so you could see his face. And then got thrown into a ring post. He was cut. Big gash over his forehead. And then back in the ring, he got an elbow and a big boot in the corner. But Moxley fired back with the lariat. Wailed some shots. Hit the paradigm shift. 1, 2, 3. Simple win for Moxley. And he leaves. Moxley advances to the next round to face Orange Cassidy in the semifinals. So, right off the bat, now we got semifinals. Jon Moxley, Orange Cassidy, Bryan Danielson, Eddie Kingston. Some good stuff. So then we got Cody Rhodes in the ring. Actually, first, before I get into, or actually, I'll just get into it after. But this was probably the controversial part of the show, and the heat part of the show, in the sense that, so Cody Rhodes was out there. He talks about how he hears the buzz, and that he talked about his trilogy, talked about his love for the fans. He apologized to everyone about his whole Hollywood status, but he said, simply put, he will not turn. And he said that would be too easy. Saying he will not turn heel, pretty much. And, you know, I love Cody. He is a he's a good wrestler, great storyteller in the ring. Obviously, with the last couple years and him helping build AEW, no denying that. But recently, with the way he's been portrayed, the way he's been booked, Obviously, it's been served up with a lot of criticism from fans. And do I think he deserves all the criticism that he's been getting? No. But at the same time, you can't deny what you've been seeing, you know, with his wins over Chichi Marshall, Ogogo, Penta, etc. But the wins and stuff have been there. And Reese, of course, on Saturday over Black. So there's that. And then all of a sudden, we hear Andrade del El Idolo. He came out to confront Cody. He was with his assistant, Jose. He talked about how people don't like him. How but he doesn't care what people think. So he talked about the stupid decisions of Cody, like his neck tattoo. And he said that whenever he wants, or whenever Cody wants, Andrade will make him his little bitch. So, simply put, so then we got the lights go out. Malachi Black, he came out. And of course, this alliance has been brewing between Andrade and Black. So Black spit the mask. They were attacking on Cody. And then Pac, he came out for the save on Cody. And it looks like another alliance is brewing between Cody and Pac. And it seems like the direction this is going, perhaps, is a tag team match between Cody and Pac versus Andrade and Black at Full Gear. If not, Black versus Pac, which should be good. And was announced for next week on Dynamite. It'll be Cody Rhodes versus Andrade El Idolo. Interesting there. And so, match is announced for Rampage, so it'll be instead Dante Martin versus Matt Sydal because there is a injury with Matt's brother Mike, so the tag team match off. So should be a nice match between Dante and Matt. So we got the semifinals also between Bryan Danielson and Eddie Kingston. And then we got a trick or treat match between Britt Baker and Abaddon. And if Abaddon wins, she gets a future AEW Women's World Title shot. So there's that. And then, of course, next week we got next week we got Cody and Andrade. Or actually, my bad. Sorry, I accidentally skipped over the Sammy Guevara Ethan Page match. But so now I might as well go over that before the main event. So Sammy Guevara for Ethan Page TNT Championship. So they had a brawl before the bell. And so this was a good match. A springboard cutter by Guevara. Page hit a blow to Guevara into a Spanish fly for a near fall by Sammy. Then a beautiful shooting star top rope to the outside. Then Page, he whipped like an arm drag per se. Whipped Guevara off the top rope into a rolling power slam for a near fall. Page, they were on the top rope. Guevara leaped to the top rope, but Page threw him off the top rope. Hit big shoulder tackle for a 2 count. He went for an avalanche Eagle's Edge, but Guevara countered into a top rope Hurricanrana. And then Page again went for the Eagle's Edge, but Guevara countered to a jackknife. Guevara retained and stays in the inner circle, and the inner circle will pick who is going to be in the 5-on-5 tag team match at Full Gear. So the inner circle came out for the save. Jericho, I assume, is done with the Jericho Cruise. I saw some of the highlights of it. Seemed to be good. And Jericho said that thanks to Tony Khan, it'll be a street fight in Minneapolis between Inner Circle, American Top Team, and Man of the Year. So, good stuff. Now to the main event. So, Dark Order versus the Elite. 8-man tag. So, of course, since it was Halloween, they were probably going to do some. They were dressing up. So, for Dark Order side, so John Silver's just as Bambi. No comment. Evil Uno dress up like a cowboy. I got a kick out of this though. Colt Cabana, he dressed up as Brandon Cutler. As in Brandon Cutler, we see him wearing that like jumpsuit or whatever, and he wears that face guard to protect his nose, and with the cold spray or whatever. So that was funny. And then the best one was obviously Stu Grayson. He dressed up as Kratos, God of War. So that was good. Where the Elite, they dressed up as the Ghostbusters. Which, I mean, go figure. Considering that was pretty much the way Adam Cole was written off of being the Elite years ago when he joined NXT. But good stuff here. Nakazawa, he dressed up like a sumo wrestler, I guess. And some guy who turned out to be Hangman Page, he dressed up as the Marshmallow Man. So, as we kind of configured, chaotic match, high spots, back and forth, chaos all around. Like getting into the match. So it's a Snapdragon by Kenny and a Ushigoroshi paired with super kicks by the Elite on Silvers for a near fall. Then they were just going crazy with signature moves in the ring. And Matt Jackson accidentally super kicked the ref. So that took him out. The Elite hit low blows on the Dark Order. So, I mean, of course, refs down, no rules. So, because part of the Ghostbusters, they came out with backpacks. So, all the members of the Dark Order, they were in the middle of the ring. And each member of the Elite, they were on the opposite corners. They had big backpack spot on all of them in the middle of the ring. So, hit a big power bomb on the Colt on these backpacks because the referee is still down. And then, so during their entrance, there was a horse. So part of the horse was the Dark or Evil Luna. So, but the head was missing. So the guy came out and they tried to portray it as, oh, this is a member of the Dark Order, this or that. And clearly it wasn't, because you kind of get the sense, the guy who was in the Marshmallow Man suit still ringside. So they both were getting in the ring. And Cutler, because his mouth was taped shut, he tried to bar them off, and the Elite gave him a BT trigger. So they amassed him. Cutler turned out to be him. He was out. So then Matt Jackson, he was left in the middle of the ring, and the Marshmallow Man unveiled a mask, and it turned out to be Hangman Adam Page. Good stuff because, I mean, yes, I think we all had a feeling and a hope that it would be Wyndham, aka the former Bray Wyatt of WWE. Turned out to be not true. Um, Still, there's fun and good pop. I think it would have been great. Well, it was good because they, I bet, had a hope as well that it was going to be Wyndham, but it wasn't the case. So glad because Hangman, in the first few weeks that he's back, he hasn't really gotten revenge on the Elite. And this case he did with the referee still down. He gave a dead eye to Omega, hit Big Larry on Matt Jackson, and then John Silver's, he is Torture Rack Slam on Matt Jackson for the win, and the Dark Order gets win over the Elite. And a good end, I would say, to Dynamite, but more and more, so more build. They keep the build going between Hangman and Omega for full gear. And the other thing is, by this spot, it means that Hangman and the Dark Order seem a bit at ease because there was a segment earlier in the night, and there was that. All right, so good stuff. Um, yeah, I talked about stuff for Rampage and then Dynamite next week. So good stuff there. But like I said, if you like this video, click that like, as well as more videos you want to see on the podcast. Click that subscribe as well. But thank you. Of course, I'll be back on Saturday with your Rampage review. And then next week back here for Dynamite. But thank you all. Be safe. Peace.